Hi, my name's Chase, and we're doing our negotiation on the Treaty of Versailles. To start, what you need to know about this treaty is that it was a pivotal document in modern history marking the end of World War I. The entire region of Europe was in chaos due to years of brutal fighting, with millions of lives being lost by the fighting countries. This treaty was created in an effort to maintain peace in Europe, put restrictions on Germany's military and border, and prevent Germany from starting another war, while creating repercussions for starting World War I and establishing a new international order. The treaty was highly controversial due to the Big Four chasing their own interests and their harsh repercussions of Germany. The creation of this treaty heavily influenced the 20th century, all of Europe, and world history, and shaped the geopolitical landscape while setting the stage for future conflicts and developments. Now, the Big Four were these four countries: United States, France, Britain, and Italy, running the negotiations. Some of the key issues of this negotiation were the territorial adjustments. There were massive territorial losses for Germany, leading to the reconfiguration of the European map, which you can see above. The Big Four debated over allocation of territories, specifically those seized by the nations that were defeated. Notable territories disputed were Alsace-Lorraine, which was returned to France; Sarbasson, placed under the League of Nations supervision; and the division of the territories of the former Ottoman Empire. Also, the demilitarization of the Rhineland. This was done because it was a strategic region bordering France, and this was done to prohibit Germany from being close enough to France in case they ever tried to start a war or invade the country again. Germany was forced to cede territories to neighboring countries, uh, to the ones mentioned below, and lost a ton of land, as you can see up here. The next key issue of this was the reparations that were placed on Germany. It destroyed their border, as you just saw, their entire military, which I'll get into, and their economy. France and Belgium pushed for substantial reparations to Germany to compensate for the damage caused during the war. The exact amount and method of payment were hotly debated. The treaty required Germany to pay reparations to the Allied powers. The exact amount of reparations was initially left undetermined, but was later set at 132 billion gold marks, equivalent to around 442 billion USD at the time. And this had such a profound effect on the country that they were paying their reparations from World War I all the way up until 2010. Next, the military restrictions that were put on Germany had a huge effect on them as well. Discussions took place about the disarmament of Germany and the imposition of military restrictions to prevent it from being a future threat, since they were blamed for the war. The German army was limited to 100,000 troops. The treaty had them completely had a complete disbandment of their air force and a significant reduction in their navy. Only and the Germans were only able to retain a small fleet of ships. The military restrictions also include conscription, which is just a fancy word for mandatory military service. They had to get rid of that. Germany was also forbidden from possessing any kind of tanks, aircrafts, submarines, and heavy artillery. Another key issue was the League of Nations. Our former President Woodrow Wilson was a strong advocate for the establishment of this. The negotiations centered on the structure and the functions of the League, as well as the inclusion of specific provisions in the treaty to support its objectives. The League of Nations was aimed to maintain international peace and security through collective security, arbitration of disputes, disarmament efforts, promoting international cooperation, and upholding international law. This also set the path for the United Nations in the future. Although Woodrow Wilson was heavily pushing this and wanted the U.S. to join, ultimately we did not, because the U.S. Senate refused to ratify the Treaty of Versailles. Next, another big issue was the war guilt clause. The sole responsibility for World War I was placed on Germany. This was fiercely debated during the negotiations, with obviously Germany strongly opposing it. The clause provided the legal basis for demanding reparations for Germany in terms of the money that they owed the Allied countries. Uh, France, in particular, really wanted to hold Germany accountable for the immense amount of human and material losses suffered during the war, and the clause contributed to a widespread resentment and humiliation of Germany and their people, fueling nationalist sentiments and laying the groundwork for political instability and economic hardships in the post-war period, which laid the ground for the rise of Hitler and the Nazi Party. And now I'm going to hand it off to Charlie. Thank you.